All right. Hey guys, happy start of the week. It is a beautiful, beautiful Monday afternoon. And you know what? I'm going to say it's going to be an amazing week because it is. It's going to be one. And it is the last week of Behind the Shots. Sad face. It's all good things must come to an end. So, yeah, we're wrapping up 23 episodes this week. And it's still going to be an awesome one. We're going to end with a bang. And yeah, so for today we have yeah, they're very very unique guests, unique from each other, and I think you're going to enjoy the way they interpret portrait photography, which will be the theme for this week. All right. So, welcome to Behind the Shot, where top visual storytellers share their best 3 shots, whether it's photo, video, or clips or segments with great stories behind them. So that is the core of the show, and it is instructional by nature, so please ask your questions. um, yeah, don't be embarrassed. Chum is here. Yes, yeah, it's gonna be the last week for season 1, but don't fret because we are already planning season 2, and we are supported by and powered by Deity microphones, which you can see right here. So, Deity, thank you so much for being with us this far. We're 3 episodes left, and I couldn't have done it literally without your mics. So, thank you. Awesome products, and I use them not just here in the show, but in my vlogs and my assignments in jungles and even high up in the Arctic. I've brought their lav mic, so it was an awesome thing. And they were tough. So that is what made me partner with them, and they're great. If you can hear my voice right now, the way it is, that's not really my voice. It's just because the mic is, it's awesome, right? Okay, so, and yeah, introduce myself. My name is Noel Guevara. I am a conservation and wildlife photographer and filmmaker, and this show is mainly one of the ways that I try to spread my advocacy, not just with wildlife, the environment, but also to help support fellow artists, fellow photographers, cinematographers, and who are, the whole industry is going through a crunch right now. And having a way to keep people at home and also highlight the different talents that we have here is, I think, one of the better ways that I could, spend my time. And yeah, it's been very rewarding to say the least, and that is awesome. So if you want to see more of my work, you can head on over to Instagram at Noel Guevara Photo. Check it out. It's not portrait though, so it's wildlife and conservation and a bit more of photojournalism. So if that is right down your alley, then please consider following my Instagram. And of course, I have to apologize for last week. We were supposed to have our last episode with Dan Ruliega's cinematographer, director, and producer last Friday, but because of scheduling conflicts, we weren't able to do that. So I apologize for that. And I didn't expect to actually miss hosting the show, but at the same time, it was good to have a break and just look at the whole show again from an outsider's perspective, and it has been very rewarding. Again, I have to say, rewarding to say the least. And of course, we are broadcasting right now on both YouTube and Facebook. So we have a lot of people who are watching on Facebook right now. And I'd like to invite everyone on Facebook to transfer to YouTube. Well, you can stay there actually. We're keeping that stream for probably 75% of the whole show. But probably before the last set of photos from our guest today, I'll be cutting the stream and we'll focus exclusively on YouTube so that I can manage the comments better. And the party is bigger there. It's more fun. The cool kids are there, so might as well transfer. And I have to say that I was talking with our guest earlier before the show, and we've sort of established that we were both introverted by nature. And one thing that I've learned through the show was that, wow, I could actually host a show. A bit amateurish, but I'd never thought that I would be able to do so until I tried it. So it did have that effect on me, and I guess I have to thank all our guests and our viewers for making that possible. I wouldn't have discovered that without you guys. So we are ending again our season rather, on episode 23 on Friday. That will be our last week. Okay, so this week we have portraits, and maybe it's time to introduce our guest for today. I've been so excited for this. I've been thinking about it the whole week, and just because I'm a big fan of her work. Okay, so let me introduce our awesome guests. So, one look at our guest's extensive portfolio is like a step into a colorful, imaginative world. And I have to say that is an understatement. Looking at her photos, it kind of transports you. It's a bit transcendent in that way. It's often dreamy, playful, cinematic, and rarely static. Her photographs lean towards daydreams, nostalgia, and storytelling with a preference for delicate tones and a retro tinge. She is a self taught photographer, just like me, who has been shooting professionally for almost a decade, cheerfully driven by curiosity and the incessant need to create. And I have to say, that is something that has been incessant as well for her and for me during the whole lockdown. So that need to be productive. She started out with music gigs and events, portraits, food photography, and later on wrote and shot for travel and lifestyle publications. She got a real taste of fashion photography in 2010, which she was challenged by and eventually fostered a love for. Thank goodness for that. She now has numerous campaigns, magazine covers, and fashion editorials under her belt. Ladies and gentlemen of Behind the Shot, I still don't have a term for you guys. Please welcome one of the most sought after photographers of our generation, Shaira Luna. So my first question was, how did you develop that style that you have? Was it progressive, or was it something that you were dead set on when you started?
I really, really had no style when I was starting, and I did not know that photographers were going to be asked, "What's your style?" So that wasn't the thing for me. I was just shooting,
Right.
and I started shooting in the courtyard of our campus, and
Mm-hmm.
I would just shoot like salt and pepper shakers and leaves, and then I would shoot whenever I was able to go out to watch a gig. So I mean, nothing.
Really?
I wasn't planning on becoming any sort of photographer at all. And then I started shooting gigs, and then I started shooting for events. And then I think when I started shooting for magazines, that's when I really got the idea that maybe someday, like, I would have a style or a
Uh
preference.
huh.
But it wasn't the goal ever to have a certain style. It just sort of happened over many years. I
Right.
wouldn't even say like over a year or
Over
like
15 years. Yeah.
over like one shoot. I just started noticing that, or people actually started noticing that my shoots had a certain feel about them. And
Right.
really, until people tell me something, I tend not to notice.
Right, right. Okay, that's good to hear because your style is very unique. And when I read that description, often dreamy, playful, cinematic, and rarely static, that was actually the first impression I had of your work. It was, I remember
Thanks.
calling it very fluid. It's like,
Fluid. I
yeah,
like that.
very fluid. So, which begs the question: do you shot list? Do you sort of storyboard, quote unquote, your
No.
shots?
Well, if I'm shooting abroad and if I'm producing the shoot myself, I tend to make a storyboard so I can send it to them and they know the feel, because you have to communicate over Instagram
Right.
and you don't see them face to face. So I love making mood boards, but a shot list,
Squid. It's like,
only in very
very
specific,
okay.
only for very specific shoots. But
Right.
when I shoot, like yesterday, for example, I had
Mm,
a close friend over, and
okay.
after our coffee and our merienda, I just threw something on her and we shot.
Oh, that's fine. That's
That's
great.
most Yeah, most of my shoots are like that, and I just invent the story as we go along.
Right.
I think that's why they look fluid. I get asked that question a lot, like, what do you use to edit, or why do your photographs look a certain way? I
Right.
think the best answer I could come up for that was maybe the way I shoot it, because I tend to talk to the subject while I'm
Mm,
shooting, and I tend to make them act certain situations.
okay. Okay.
So maybe that's
Oh,
a
that's
big part of
interesting.
how the photographs end up looking.
And it's funny because when I asked you, when I had to confirm, like, I had to confirm the poster with you on what to put as your designation. Normally people say, my guests would say, "Oh, please don't put just photographer. Can you please put commercial photographer and so on?" You were dead set on just photographer, right? And what's funny is I read in an article, yes, I had to research for for this show. What is the if that is what you consider the best thing, what do you consider the next best thing
Next best thing.
to photography?
Oh, um, What? That's hard. Okay, the first question eh.
Is it still vacuuming?
Oh my gosh. Well, thrifting.
Sorry.
It's thrifting. It has to be
Thrifting.
treasure
Okay.
hunting.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
Can you tell us about that? Because you also have a YouTube channel, and it's more about it's not really photography lang, diba?
I feel so sorry for you. You had to go through my YouTube
No,
channel and
no, it's
watch my
fine.
YouTube videos.
I find it fascinating actually. And I always have this mindset that when you look into someone or you talk to someone, get ready to be surprised or amazed, and rightfully so. So what is that about your YouTube channel? It's
Well, my YouTube channel, I usually showcase what I wear. Well, what I wear to shoots or what I wear every day.
mhm.
It started, I guess, because people would always notice what I was wearing to shoots, and they would always be from the ukay-ukays,
Yeah.
and they'd be 5 pesos and 10 pesos. Like every single shoot, without fail, someone would ask me what I was wearing.
Galing.
So I decided to like make a video and show what I wore every day, and they'd all be from ukay ukay, and people wouldn't believe it because like
Wow.
a whole outfit for 25 pesos, like people don't believe stuff like that. So I had to make a video about how I put things together and
interesting.
how I actually wear these things in real life. And I was surprised that a lot of people were into thrifting and
Yeah.
were into or were interested in it at least. And I think I've gotten some people into thrifting just because they see the possibilities outside malls and
Yeah.
outside online shopping, and it's therapeutic in a way going through racks and
That's true.
ukay-ukays.
Yeah.
That is my ultimate spa.
Malakas kasi ang ukay sa atin. So that was you have that
Yeah.
market also. Okay, so let's go back to your photography, and we have 4 sets today, and they're very different from each other. Can you tell me a bit about what was the process in choosing all these photos? Were you hell bent on make sure that they're diverse enough?
It's always incredibly difficult whenever I'm asked to send photos.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to send the same ones because those are the ones I remember a lot. But for this specific episode, I wanted to include one that was more like relevant in a way,
Yeah.
and something that didn't necessarily showcase anything technical or anything like mind blowing in
Yeah.
terms of lighting and setups. But I was really fond of that shoot, and it was so much fun for me to do. And that's the virtual shoot I'm gonna be talking about later. And I wanted to show one of me capturing a person, like an actual portrait of who that person really is.
Okay.
Just capturing her essence basically. And then the other set I'm gonna show is me transforming a person into someone else. So at least we have those two sides. And then there's that virtual shoot, which is quite new to a lot of us. So
Yeah.
I hope it was a good balance.
It
It's
is.
so hard to choose.
It is. It was very interesting to line them up. So I lined up Freya first, and then we'll do the icon, and then let's do
Okay.
the make believe, and then the zombie set. But before we head on over, guys, if you aren't familiar with Shaira's work, sorry, keep on pronouncing it like Shakira. Sorry, Shaira. There you go. Like Shaira. Please visit her on Instagram, Shaira Luna. Actually, you have more than one account, I think. So which one do you want to direct them towards? Shaira, is it okay? Oh, you have 5. I thought
I
you were
have 5
saying hi.
accounts.
Okay.
Well, the main one, Shaira Luna, is it's interesting, I think.
Okay.
If they don't want to see too many people, or if they want something relaxing, I have shiraluna.archives.
Okay.
That's I find that a very relaxing feed for some reason.
That's interesting. Let's go back to that later. Okay, so let's take up the first set, and this is your first one. This was. Can you tell us more about the shoot and this project?
Okay, so this is a portrait. Well, not really a portrait, but it's an image of a girl named Freya, and I shot this in Perth, in Western Australia. Is this 2018? I think.
Okay.
And I was already watching her on YouTube since just way before I went to Perth. And then when I came back from my first trip, I realized that I was in the same place that she was in, and I didn't even bother to look, or I could have shot her. Like I was there already. I could have at least tried to contact her and
Right.
see if I could shoot her. So the next time I went back to Perth, I made sure that I got in touch and I asked her if she wanted to shoot. I sent her some of my photos, and then like she was so easy to talk to, and she was excited about shooting. Because when
Wow.
I just like to give context, and every time I go out of the country, I don't really vacation. I search for people to shoot, and then I bring clothes and everything, and I just spend like one whole week shooting.
Wow, really?
just for just for fun. So when I went back to Perth, I had to shoot Freya. That was like my number one thing. She has this very sun goddess,
Right.
70s, 60s, like, I don't know, what do you call her, like earth angel vibe about her.
Wow.
And I just love this era so much. I can't explain why. I love the clothing. I love the colors of the photographs back in the 70s and in the 60s. So a
Okay.
lot of my photos really are very retro inspired.
Right.
And for her, I knew I didn't want to bring clothes because I knew she had like so many vintage clothing of her own.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a character, and I hardly needed to do anything. I just wanted to capture her as Freya.
Yeah.
And so she took me around her street. We rode on the bus. We crossed the street. We kind of went into that yard, and the owner of the house came out and waved to the camera.
Wow, really? That's nice.
It's so nice shooting in Australia. Like they really love it when you shoot. I don't know. It's so weird. Unlike when you're here, people kind of
Yeah.
give you like a weird eye.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, that's true.
they're actually happy to let you in, and oh, make sure you tag us, or make sure you like send us the picture.
Right.
And this, I think, to me was a challenge because she kind of represented the era. Like she had, she had the whole vibe going on, and I felt like I had to capture that, because if I had bad pictures, that would be on me,
Mm-hmm.
because everything's there already. Like
Yeah.
she's right in front of you, and I just wanted to do my best and make her happy too, because she gave me the time, and she made the effort in getting these clothes. So
Super.
I just wanted to make it as close to the 60s and the 70s as possible.
Very
And this was
Woodstock, yeah.
such a fun day. And to think it almost did push through, because I got sent to the wrong house.
Oh,
I got lost going to her house.
wow.
So I was worried that we wouldn't push through, but she waited for me, and we had such a fun time.
And I mean the locations are like, spot on as well. Look at this. I
Yeah,
mean, you
so
can't really ask for more.
we were walking, and I also try to use Google Maps before I shoot someone. So
Right.
wherever they live, I Google Map. I go through the streets and
Mhm.
then ask them, hey, did you see this, by the way? I'm 2 streets away from you. And then if they confirm, then we're gonna go there.
That's
And
nice.
sometimes they have spots of their own,
Yeah.
and I just tend to make use of whatever is in sight. If I don't have my props, I'll just work with what we have. And
Yeah.
that's another thing I've learned over the years. You don't always need to have a huge team of people to
That's true.
create something. It can just be you and a butterfly.
That's true. Wow. Is it so what happened? Is that the butterfly that just flew in into her bedroom?
Well, she had, for some strange reason, she had like a little glass jar of dead butterflies. And
Wow.
I just saw it on her
Okay.
bedside table, and we emptied it out on the bed. So it helps when you're working with a fellow storyteller, because you just bounce ideas off each
Right.
other, and like, let's shoot this and let's shoot that. And then we just end up with so many pictures. I still have photos that I haven't posted till this day.
Wow, that's a big contrast, to the dead butterfly in that scene. We have a comment from Maybell. Lovely tones. I feel like I'm transported back in time.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
from my wife Pam, who's watching. Agree. It's like looking at your parents' teenage photos. Actually, that's true.
Oh,
And
like that's the ultimate compliment.
exact. And from Chum, nice retro vibe. So, okay. So for this set, I have to ask: did at least at the very least the palette? Did you decide on
Mhm.
a palette beforehand, or it just really developed again as you were
We
shooting?
chose the clothes, and the
Okay.
thing about me, well, I notice when I shoot, I tend to match colors.
Okay.
I know, like, you're supposed to do contrasts, and like if you're a fashion stylist, you like to do all these like juxtapositions and
Yes.
stuff. But when she's wearing yellow, and then I see yellow flowers, I'm like, oh, that is so cute. So
Wow,
It's really
galing.
just like instantly like, and this is film, so like that is literally
Mm,
just her in the sky,
right.
and the clothes. So it's really trying to match the outfit and the mood, I guess. And there's a certain way of not making it look like it's 2018.
Mm-hmm.
If you study photographs from the 60s and the 70s, they looked at the camera a different way. You know, the
Yes.
same way people in the 1800s would look at a camera.
Huh.
They had a different way of staring, I guess, because they couldn't
That's
move
true.
around. They had to be frozen, and they had to
Right.
just be point blank. So I try to get those very like small hints of the
Yeah.
60s.
Wow. I didn't think of
um
that. Those nuances, no? That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a little time, and then I usually delete the ones that look modern. There are hand gestures, there's body language that is very now, so I don't include that in the set. I think it's also the editing, because they are on Instagram, and even if they don't want to look like they're doing the hype beast thing, sometimes it's gonna come out where they're
Right,
sticking their
right.
their butt out, and they didn't
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to do those things
Yeah.
back
It's
in the 60s. So
anachronistic
I
na.
take
Yeah.
them out of the set already, and I think
Wow,
that's
I
what
never
makes it
thought
look
of
just a
that.
bit more retro or retro,
You
I
know, it's
guess.
amazing how focused you are about what you want to see on your photos, and then when you go out shooting, it's just you and your subject, but you have an eye and you have the discipline to actually look for these things. Like, okay, I'll remove this because it's anachronistic. I don't make this
Oh yeah,
pose. So
yeah.
that's a lot to process while you're being creative at the same time.
It happens so fast.
It's amazing.
I
Wow.
hardly think about it. And if I end up shooting someone who, for example, is a catalog model, especially the ones who come from China and are very used to, static
Yeah.
catalog
Very
poses,
rigid. Yeah.
very rigid. So that's where you come in and try to talk to them and then make them loosen up. And then the minute they let go of that post, that's when you click the shutter,
Hmm.
the button. You have to catch those moments when they're not posing. So yeah, it's a challenge, but I think it's really practice also. It's a lot of shooting and shooting and trying to make sure you get the mood and the non 2020 vibes.
Okay, okay. So I'm showing the video here. There is audio for this one. We can't hear it, but everyone else can. Um, yeah, even the way you shot this video. So you shot the
Well,
video also. So wow, you have so many roles na in your
I
shoot.
know that was just on a whim. Like I just took out my phone,
Ah,
and I was like,
okay, and that's with the phone.
sayang, sayang to. That's why all the angles are facing up, because if I pointed the camera any lower, you would see like modern cars.
Right. Galing,
That's why
galing.
everything was pointed up, and I knew she already had the moves and she had the expressions, and I just had to capture it. Medyo shaking nga lang kasi hindi naman planado yun.
Okay lang. It fits naman the ano
Hindi
eh.
naman
It fits the
planado yung
era eh.
moments.
It also fits the
Yeah,
era as well. So
super, super fun.
okay, so um, let's get into the technicals of this. What camera were you using for this project?
This one was just a Fuji X-H1. Like,
Ah,
that
okay.
was it.
Okay.
That was it. And I don't think I even brought a reflector because I was taking the bus. So I was alone as usual. And then I had my big bag of clothes just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't have anything to wear.
Right.
So I really look kawawa when I'm shooting these things out of the country. I like have a big bag, and then I'm trying to make sure I'm not lost. And it was just H1. And then I think I had a disposable camera.
Okay.
And then I had my film camera. So yeah, I had three cameras slung around me and my phone,
Okay.
and that is like natural Perth light.
Wow. Ganda. Uh,
Yeah,
but do you? How much? I'm sure people would ask. How much post production do you do with your photos?
it's warmth.
Okay, that's it.
Yep, yep,
Wow,
just
galing.
flip all the way up. Because I don't like spending too much time post processing, and a lot of times the clients will ask for the photographs immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to make the photos look nice. So even if they open the raw, hindi ko mapipintasan.
Wow, binibigay mo yung raw. Okay,
Yeah.
galing, galing. Okay, and then okay. So with your film, what is there a particular film stock that you use?
Whatever's cheap.
Galing. Okay.
Sorry.
Galing. Okay, sige. I'm really impressed because uh I'm an organizational freak, as in I make sure to, I shotlist everything. Of course, I leave like a lot of room for or latitude for creativity or whatever happens on impulse. But the way you approach it is a bit new to me, and I'm blown away by how the results that you get are exactly how you saw them, whereas you're being fluid the whole time. So
Sometimes I get surprised, like I accidentally, like, or she accidentally moved somewhere that we didn't plan to shoot, and then
mhm.
it's nice. I'm like, okay, we're transferring. It's very fast. It's just, for example, they're doing like something with their hair, and then I see it. I'm like, nope, don't move, stop right there, and then
Okay.
I'll shoot it.
Wow. Okay. We have a question here. Is there a specific focal length that you like?
Not really,
Really? Okay. So
not really.
you don't stick to the numbers of it, the 35s, the 50s. It's just whatever
No.
feels right.
And also, when I'm traveling, I tend to bring lighter lenses. So sometimes I bring the kit lenses. I bring. What do I bring? I rarely bring the primes when I travel because I'm very kite when I shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have, what did I use for this? I just use the kit lens of the H1 for that,
Good.
and I rarely use the like the long lenses because I cannot physically carry them when I'm shooting
Okay.
my personal work. So you might notice that in a lot of my personal work, it's really kind of me up close like
Right.
that.
Right.
I'm really not choosy. I'll use whatever I have. If I happen to leave one of the cameras I was supposed to use, then I'll just use whatever's left in my bag.
Galing. Okay. I'm still in awe with this whole intuitive shooting thing. It's partly new to me, and it's just amazing. Okay, so for you guys who are joining us, we have Ram Yoro is here. Paco Guerrero is here. Hey Paco. Um, yeah, so guys, you're watching Behind the Shot, and for those newcomers, this is the show where top visual storytellers like Shaira, I pronounced that right now, Shaira share their best four photos, four sets, and the great stories behind them. So if you haven't yet, please follow us on Instagram, Shaira Luna and Noel Guevara photo. Okay, I'm curious about this next set. Can you tell us more about the Icon series?
So, while I guess I was developing my style,
Right.
I realized that I really enjoyed recreating or trying to imitate certain people or movies or famous characters. And it was sort of a practice for me, like trying to get the lighting correct.
Right.
Because a way for me to learn, like I guess a lot of other photographers, is to have a peg and then try to recreate the light, and then when you get it, well, suddenly you have a new lighting setup in your storage of lighting setups. So that's what I enjoyed doing, and I wasn't shy about asking people if I could shoot them, or if I saw a certain person, I would immediately think of someone they look like, and I'd say, "Oh, you would make a great, let's say, Grace Kelly, or you would make a great Emily." And
Yeah.
of course, they'd be like, "What? What are
What's
you?
that?
What are
What's
you
that? Yeah.
saying? Yeah, what's that?" And then I'd show them the peg. You look exactly like her. And then they're gonna agree, and then like we set a date, and then we end up with the shoot. And then I okay all the clothes, and I okay all the props, and
Wow.
the specific one that's on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So this was me trying to do the lighting for Emily,
Which is I'm a
the
big fan
movie.
of. Yeah, super
I
big fan.
love the colors in
Yeah.
that movie. I love the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, am I on?
Yes. Hello. Yeah, there.
Yeah, and I realized that this kid, I shot her first communion,
Okay.
and when she was walking down the chapel, is it the chapel? When she was walking down,
Yeah.
I realized, I said, this kid looks like a little Emily. Like I
Wow.
could
Audrey
imagine her
tattoo.
then. So after
Yeah.
that, I asked her mom, like, do you think I can shoot your daughter? So that's how it worked. And then I asked Sanbeda, because I
Mm-hmm.
knew I used to shoot for Sanbeda also
Okay.
in Manila, and I shot their catalogs, I shot their posters, and then since it could almost pass as a European setting,
Right.
yeah, that's where we shot it.
How did you get the hair?
Oh, that's a wig that I had to
Okay.
cut.
I thought like parang, wow, super sakto naman ng girl. It's like a little Audrey
Ay
tattoo.
nako, naging hairdresser na ako dyan. I had to cut the wig and figure out how to make a little kid wear a wig. And it's, again, almost acting in a way, because this kid isn't used to photo shoots and she's like, what is she doing?
Right.
So it's communication. It's a lot of being like really befriending your subjects. I end up friends with a lot of the people I shoot just because we're just talking the entire time,
Okay.
and I don't really make them feel intimidated. I
Super
guess
sakto. Yeah.
it feels like we're playing dress up.
Yes. Okay. Okay. This girl, you asked her mom about shooting her, but Freya, the one before, it was just a cold call. As in, you have no prior
Nope.
contact before that.
Nope. I'm like, hi Freya, I have been watching your YouTube videos for a while and I'm gonna be in Perth. Would you like to shoot with me?
Wow. Okay. And then she just replied like off the bat,
Yeah.
yes. Game. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
You know you won't lose anything if you ask.
That's true. Yeah. Well, that's just my thinking with this show. So that's good to
And
know.
look at you now.
Wow. This is also really nice. And was this shot in the same year?
This was
Asakura?
back in 2015.
Okay.
I think 2015 was the year I had the most number of test shoots. People call it test shoots. Some people call it fun shoots or personal shoots.
Mhm.
So this was the year I was shooting at least 3 to 4 fun shoots every weekend without fail.
Wow.
So I would shoot all the models from one agency and then all the models from another agency. It was just endless fun shoots. So that's, I think, also how I built my wardrobe, because I would have to shop every week for costumes.
Okay.
And this was just shot in a studio, because it would not be really too practical to shoot on a beach. And for the minute I saw this model, I knew I had to do her as Grace Kelly, because she had that elegant, quiet feel about her. And while shooting, you can feel it while you're shooting. Like, it's going to turn out looking the way you want it to.
Yeah.
So everyone has so much fun just trying to be in a Halloween costume for a weekend.
So all of the wardrobe that you see here, that's all yours.
Yeah, this was actually my prom dress.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I keep a lot of clothes. And then this one was Lana Del Rey inspired.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can see that, but we kind of made her look like Lana Del Rey. It was also this year I was working with a really talented hair and makeup artist.
Okay.
Her name is Meiko. She's Japanese. She's in Japan now, unfortunately.
Sorry, her name is Meiko?
Yeah.
Mako?
Meiko.
Okay, because my son's
Meiko.
name is Mako as well, Mako.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
Malay mo, artist naman.
Sana. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And
yeah, it just felt like Lana Del Rey, very sad, always emo. This was shot right after the Grace Kelly shoot, so same day, same studio.
Okay. So if you have, I was just thinking, Shaira, that considering a lot of the photographers right now, emerging talent or photographers, basically anyone who can take a photo, this is also a good exercise that you can have at home since we're all locked down. You can try copying iconic images as well, right? Just that it's a bit difficult to have that same, volume of wardrobe that you have, though. But it is a very interesting and feasible exercise, rather.
Very, very feasible, because I hate taking photos of myself and I don't really like being in photographs. But when I was starting, I had no one else to practice on, so I had to take self-portraits. I had to use all sorts of lights and foil and just practice on myself until I could finally try and practice on other people. So when I had this opportunity to shoot the models from that agency, I just went all out. Like, I went for it.
Okay.
I practiced with my lights. I experimented with different kinds of lights. I also couldn't afford the more high-end lights, and we didn't have Lazada back in 2015, or maybe we did, I didn't know. So I would just use whatever lights I could buy, and see if I could make something out of it. Ayun, gumana naman, hopefully.
Alam mo, hindi ko iisipin na hindi nasa studio to. I really thought it was on the beach. So,
really?
wow, it's impressive
cool.
lighting.
Thank you.
uh, are you a gearhead? Are you particular about lights? Do you collect? People are because I encounter photographers who are starting out who are very particular about their gear. Parang parang when they get more work, I'll move on to a full frame or so on. What's your take on that?
I think I've just always been one to work with what I have because for the longest time I didn't even have my own camera. I was borrowing a camera from my friend. So I just learned to love whatever equipment I was holding at the moment, and
Okay.
whatever I could afford, I would buy secondhand, the third party pa.
Wow.
I would buy those lenses, and I had used stuff from the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of my own things, so I learned not to be picky when it came to my equipment. Of course, when you get a taste of the good stuff, you enjoy it and
Yes.
you maximize it, but I also really don't mind working with my current gear. It took years and years before I switched to
Yeah.
my current system. It's also maybe because I'm a tiger. I tend to be loyal to things and just stick to them. It could also be that I'm lazy to learn the the new specs and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, if you gave me a camera to shoot with now, I'd just happily use it. Of course, I appreciate all the technology, but if I don't have it, it's not a big deal.
That's interesting because even sa camera gear, you're being thrifty also. Thrifting rin siya. So that's cool.
And no choice ka naman when you're starting, wala ka
Sabagay,
talagang
yeah.
pambili na.
So anong system gamit mo now?
Now I'm Fuji.
Okay. Fuji, the same one, the XH1 that you used for Freya.
I have an XH1, I have an XT3, and then for commercial shoots, I use the GFX 50S.
Okay, cool. Now, actually, this iconic this icon series is really more of a jump off point for the particular set that you sent, which is this one. So super
Aww.
galing. Can you tell us more about this project?
So this wasn't actually supposed to be like this. The title of this series, I think yung title yung nagdala, is
Uh,
called Without John.
yeah.
So it's recreating John and Yoko's photos without John. So I don't know if it's sad or if it's hopeful, but it's a lot of people shared this on Facebook, and I didn't even know. Like I looked back at the set maybe
Yeah.
a few months after I posted it. It's like, are you kidding me? Like there were like 1,000 something. It's like,
Wow.
really? I didn't know that it resonated with people, because while we were shooting this, we were just like, I can't believe we pulled this off because our model flaked on us.
This model.
He wanted to get the male model who was supposed to play John
Okay.
messaged. It was the night before or the morning of the shoot. He
Hmm.
said, I'm a professional model. I don't need these fun shoots. If you want me to come, you have to pay me. I'm
Wow.
like,
Wow. Okay.
okay,
Well,
thanks.
it worked out for the
I just
better, I think.
So I had to message him like, guys, we don't have John. We only
Yeah.
have Yoko. But
Hmm.
since everything's all set up, then I guess we can just shoot her without John.
Hmm.
And while we were shooting it, I was realizing this is actually so much better than if we had the diva model with
Yeah.
us, because we wouldn't have gotten the same mood, the same kind of pensive thinking.
Yeah.
And Tessa, our model, was in that mood because while she was getting her makeup done, her boyfriend was breaking up with her over the phone. So she was actually crying during the shoot. So I'm like, what is with today? What else could
Wow.
possibly go wrong?
But it all came together in the sense that you got your
No.
motivation. I mean, for the model
Oh my
has it, and you have it
gosh.
also. So
It came together. And also the house that I chose just happened to have the very similar backgrounds to the photos. So if you look at them one by one, they are really
wow.
quite close to the actual photographs. And we were getting chills while looking at the pictures because sabi namin, cute din pala na wala si John.
Oh, super. I thought nga you did it on purpose, and I think that was a very interesting take on it.
I wish I were that smart or creative, but no, this happened by accident.
It's happy surprises, no?
Yeah.
Galing, galing.
So there,
And
this
even
was
this
the
one, this one.
placa. Yeah. Oh, I love this one. This, what did I use for this? I'm not sure if this was film or digital. I had both cameras on me, and I usually alternate. Like I'll shoot with one camera, then
Right.
another camera, and sometimes another camera. So if you see two of the same photos but with different treatments, it's probably that one's
Okay.
film and one's digital.
And I remember seeing this interview kasi. So when I saw this collage, wow, that was so cool. So when you release your photos, did you just lay it out this way because of the show, or that's how you presented it as a final product?
When I like my fun shoots, I
This
only
one in
really post
particular.
on. Yeah, oh, this one, I just laid it out like that just so people could see the reference. But normally, I just dump them into a Facebook album, and like sometimes 5 people see them. I'm lucky if like 30 people see them. I just have to shoot. So for this one in particular, I just wanted to lay it out
Yeah.
because not everyone is familiar. Like you can't expect everyone to be familiar with their photographs.
Right.
And these are like 60s and 70s, so I wanted to make sure that the references were there and so that they could really feel like the loss of John, like here's the one with John and here's how she's doing without him.
Mm. You know the I don't know, the sadness was, tangible in a way when I was looking at it. So it's yeah, it's interesting that you said that you had a lot of problems there for the shoot. Mabel de Maviva is saying it's a beautiful accident and must have been Mercury retrograde at that time, like now. That's why it happened. But
I,
yeah, Shara. Okay, I lost you there for a second. You were saying?
umiyak talaga siya habang minimake up.
Talaga? Grabe. Well, it really
Yeah.
showed talaga dun sa photos.
Yeah, and I just loved how the house really kind of resembled
Yeah.
the pictures. It's another one of my, I'd say, location scouting.
Sorry. You're getting a bit choppy there. What was that again?
Am I back?
Yes, you are. And fluid
Um,
as
a
ever.
great pastime. A great pastime is location hunting.
Yeah.
I love looking for houses, and if I get to shoot somewhere and then I see it as a possible location,
Mm-hmm.
I asked the owner already, do you think I can shoot here one time? So
Okay.
I try to, I have a little notebook where I have my locations, possible locations, and then possible models, possible themes, and then one day they just all line up
Yeah.
and we have a shoot.
It would be so fun to see your notebook, your notes, and see how your mind works. Yeah, completely correct. Hit it on the head. Alfonso Calera saying serendipity breeds creativity. So that's what works. So for this shot, there have to be a lot of preparation for it. I mean, the the wardrobe and then the location. I mean,
Mhm.
the without John thing happened as a surprise, but everything else you had to have planned it, right?
Yeah, I booked the house in advance,
Yeah.
and then the makeup artist. We didn't have a hairstylist. It was just one makeup artist, and then I packed all the clothes into one suitcase, and I just made sure the model woke up, and that was it.
Okay.
And then I had these pictures. So these pictures were on my phone, and that was kind of my checklist already. I'm sure I had a couple of extras that we didn't end up doing,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I just like to have the photos or the pegs in one folder, and then we just go through them as quickly as we can. I'm pretty fast when we shoot, just so that people don't get tired or bored.
Okay, so I have to ask this question. You have a specific style, right? As you can see in the first two sets. When you work with clients, magazines, publications, or even brands, do they meet you halfway, or do they ask you, you know what, we picked you, but you have to fit to our style, or do they just trust you 100% and Shara, take it away? We're not even gonna go to the shoot. It's up to you.
I think all of the above.
Okay.
And that's where the practice with the copying of lighting came in handy, because if they wanted me to copy a peg, like sure I can do that. Or if they wanted to meet halfway, like we love your lighting but we want the poses to be static, then sure.
Yes.
And some clients actually just let me do whatever I want and just trust me to do the photo. So that's
Mm-hmm.
also a good thing. But that doesn't mean I'll just go all out and like have a weird
Right.
concept. I also
Okay.
try to research the brand and see who their market is, what their clients will most likely like, or what the owners tend to go for. So I do my research as well. I don't always force my vision on anything unless
Okay.
they really tell me that they want it this way or this way. I try to be as flexible as possible because I want to shoot as much as possible. I just have to shoot. So even if it's a commercial shoot with a white background and beauty lighting, like sure.
Okay. Okay. So how is that more? Would you say when there's a specific art direction that you have to align to, uh, for an intuitive and fluid shooter like yourself, is that do you see that as a challenge or do you see that as another exercise again that you can do?
Oh, it's another exercise for sure, and I quite enjoy it because I'm usually sitting down. Sometimes I have to use a tripod, and the challenge there is not to make the shoot boring or tiring for the subject who's just standing in the middle of a white background. I think shooting commercial is also part, not really performance,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a way to not make it feel can't inject my lighting or my soft tones, then I inject my just good vibes in
Right,
general.
right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
From well, Pong Ignatius here saying hi. So Pong was our guest, cinematographer was our guest last week. Paco Guerrero, Shira's work always looks effortless and hides the fact that there is a lot of hard work and thousands of hours behind the camera to achieve this level of ease. That is so true. That's not something that
Oh,
you can take face
Paco.
value. So yeah, those 15 years of shooting and borrowing your friend's camera, third hand camera. So
Yeah.
it really boils down to that. Okay. Uh yeah, what is can you give a sort of advice or tip for those photographers who are struggling because it doesn't come naturally yung when you have a client and then you have to suddenly work with them and then you have to sort of detach or distance yourself from your own style. Uh is there any tip that you can give them to manage this better or to grow into this
I
better?
Well, I think it's also the amount of work you put in and the practice you put in. I think the um, when you try to fight it, it also comes from a place of being unsure about how to go about it or how to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna fight it if you don't know how to shoot it. You're gonna be like, well, can we just try this? Like, I don't think that's gonna work. It may be because you might have a difficult time lighting it, or you're unsure that you can do it. So I think the more skills you learn and the more you practice, the more comfortable you're gonna get with what they ask of you,
Yeah,
and you also have to ask yourself if it's what you want to shoot.
that's true.
Because if you want to shoot for commercial work, then you know you're gonna have to follow pegs.
Yeah.
If you don't like following pegs, then there are other genres of photography that you may excel in. So
That's
it's
true.
just finding your little place. It will be tiring to always be fighting with clients or fighting with the art director
Yeah.
and trying to wrestle between your vision and their vision.
Yes.
You have to know what you're getting into,
Yeah.
and you have to enjoy it. If you can't get your way, then you may as well learn from the shoot, or you learn
That's
from
true.
the experience.
That's true. And you also learn from failing, so that's a big thing.
Oh,
So
that's true. Definitely. Yeah.
okay. All right. So guys, we have yeah, guys just throw your questions, put it in YouTube or Facebook and Shaira and I will try our best to answer them. So again, as usual, I would like to invite everyone to head on over to Instagram and look up Shaira's 5 Instagram accounts. You can follow one or all of them. What's the thinking behind that? Because I find that interesting. When I first started on Instagram, okay. Let's get this down. I'm a lazy Instagrammer. I don't like posting as much. I think it's because I feel like it's more of a chore. But after seeing the feed, it kind of works. Like, oh, it's a really neat way to have a portfolio. So I also had another account that's more for film and so on. But you have five. So what is the thinking the thinking behind that?
So my main Instagram account, Shaira Luna, that's been around since 2014, and then I just have so many pictures, so many pictures. If you imagine, like 2015, I had 75 personal shoots,
Mhm.
and then I had magazine editorials, and then I had commercial shoots, and then I had like campaigns. So I had to figure out a way to share all of those. I just feel like they're sad in their hard drives. I
Right.
feel like they have to be out in the world, for even if no one sees them. I just feel like they need to be out somewhere. So if anything happens to my photos, at least they're floating in the universe. So
Okay.
I try to get them out into the world as much
Right.
as possible. So my Shaira Luna has a 15 square grid. How do you call that? It changes every 15 squares.
Okay.
So it's color coded, or sometimes there's a theme. So sometimes I'll do purple, sometimes I'll do very specific colors like yellow, maroon, and brown. So I have to
Wow.
go through my 13 or 14 hard drives and look for photos that have yellow, maroon, and brown. So it's not
Wow.
really a filter. I physically go through my photographs and try to remember what photos do I have that are purple and blue.
Right.
So
Wow. Ganun
so
ka-curate.
it's
Ganito pala siya ka-curated, no? Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
sometimes when they ask me how do you filter your photos, like, oh, what, why do they all look the same? I don't know if I should be flattered because because I spent like 4 hours looking or trying to fill up that lavender square or that
Right.
red and yellow and blue
So
square.
you post them all at the same time.
Nope. I try to post one per day or one or two
Okay.
per day. And then my archives, I realized I have so many travel photos that I just never, ever, ever post
Okay.
from long, long ago. And I couldn't help myself. So I curated them, but by threes. So my archives is just, it changes every three
Three
squares. So
squares.
it's
Okay.
brown and then it's pink. So it's a
Galing.
challenge looking through all the countries or all the places
Right.
and there. And hindi lang yun, like it's brown, but each tiny scroll, there's a theme. So if it's diagonal,
Grabe.
it's all diagonal and brown.
Wow.
It's weird. I'm a Virgo. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
I'm not that familiar, but the work that you put into it is wow. That's amazing. I don't have that patience, so so I'm very lazy with
Yeah.
my Instagram. But that is an interesting way to go on about it. Okay, so let's move on to the make believe set. Okay, so this is quite unique. This is very different from everything else that you've sent today, for this episode. So, but I love the colors again. So, what was the inspiration behind this project?
So this was chapter, I think chapter 2 of my book. I published the book in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Playing Long After Us, under Summit Books. And the concept of the whole book was just like my Facebook albums. You know how I love to do my eras and I love to do the whole costume and the set design thing. So when they asked me to publish a book, I said it has to be something that I just do normally because that's too much pressure. I,
Mm-hmm.
I would not publish a book on my own. That's just not something that that I do or even exhibit. I'm not really the type.
Right.
So I chose this one because this felt the most like playing dress up because
Mm-hmm.
I was again with little kids. And the story was that they met in summer camp. It was supposed to be summer camp, and then they'd part ways, but they'd promise to write each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then one person stopped writing, and then Lucy, this girl, felt alone and sad that the boy never remembered her. And then the end of the story was that she visited the boy's place again and found out that he had moved. So, like, after all these years, that's why he hasn't written me back because he moved and she never got the address. So it's like heartbreak between two kids.
Okay.
And I just found it really cute. And this was memorable because it was my first time shooting in snow.
Wow. Okay.
My first time in snow, actually. And it took a lot of coordination because we shot this in California in Big Bear Lake.
Right.
And I was fixing this shoot from right here. And the kids are classmates of my little sister who studies who lives in the States. And my mom had to take photos of all her ballet classmates and secretly send them to me. Hey, Shai, this girl is cute. Do you want to use her for the shoot? And then this boy was a sister of another friend. It was just really funny
Oh,
how
super
I was able
supportive.
to get
Yeah.
these kids. And yeah, when I got to the States, I had to buy clothes because I had to know their sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a rough idea of the story, but of course, you have to shoot, you have to um, be prepared for whatever things are thrown at you. For example, it wasn't a summer camp, it was snowing. So we had to change the entire concept. And then the owner in front of this house was screaming at us because he didn't want trespassers.
Wow.
So it was me and then these little kids like scared for our lives, and we had to run all the way across the field. I adventure. This was such an adventure,
Yeah.
and it was just so beautiful and big
This
there.
is you taking the photo?
Yeah, me trying not to slip and hit my head.
Okay, because it could have been in my head. It could have been part of the whole story or the editorial or the the photo story.
Pwede, di ba?
Diba?
Na-costume
Pwede.
din ako.
Pwede. Okay.
Oh, I am not kidding. When I shoot, I try to dress in theme. So in case mahagip ako ng camera, like I look like I'm part of the set.
Grabe. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. That's very method of you. Okay, and then this one was at a different time, obviously.
So this was set in the 1960s. So in the book, we had to erase those cars. So when I submitted the photographs and then they helped me choose the final photos, I had to make sure we removed the telephones and we removed the modern cars. We removed the Bratz dolls.
Right.
We removed the nakakalat na DSLR. So I
Yeah.
had to make sure everything was clean and represented the 60s.
Right.
It was also fun directing kids because you have to make them understand what you're doing,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, you just make it fun for them.
And these are not models,
You know,
no?
I took them out of their comfort zone, and no, they're not. I love shooting non-models as well.
Okay.
I do a lot of stalking on my other friends' Facebooks, and is this your friend? Do you think I can shoot her? I do a lot of that. And 90% of the time they say yes.
That's cool. They're very game to do it. And who is taking your photo though? Ang ganda rin ng photos.
I think my brother was the one taking my photo. He how many cameras did I have for this? I think I had 3 cameras, so he was probably holding my film camera.
Okay.
And then since this was for the book, I made sure that I had some behind the scenes photos.
Yeah.
Para naman may remembrance.
Kaya pala, akala ko nga it's part of the it's part of the story. So
Yeah. And then this is me shopping for the props.
yeah,
And you have to develop your eye for the details.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't notice them in the photos, but I think they really contribute to the whole image. So I think that's what makes some of my photos look like they're from photo albums, because I try to fill up the space as much as possible with things from that era, just to, I don't know, add to the vibe, or maybe the spirits past will come into the photographs.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to be looking at an era as a sort of inspiration, but another to like really live through it to the set. The fact that you also dressed up, it's really part of like what they say method acting, na very immersive na siya, no?
Ay, nako, na-costume talaga ako when I shoot sometimes.
Galing nga. I like I really appreciate this look into your process, no? So, and even the set design, the production design, this is all you, Shaira.
Yeah, and then these cards we got from, so this is me and my brother. So we made a shot list for this one since we were working with kids, and I didn't want them to work more than 4 hours.
Of course.
And logistics. So we had a shot list, which props went with which scene, which clothing, and we also had what do you call that in movies where you have to wear the same thing again?
Continuity.
I lost the term. Continuity.
Yeah.
Continuity. And I also had to keep the props because these props reappear in the last chapter of my book, which was shot in Australia. So we had to make a list of the things. Do not leave this in California. You have to bring these to Australia.
Because it's part of the story.
Yeah, so
okay.
Because it's part of the story.
Okay. So where can they get the books? Is it available?
Our books are fully booked. National book sale also used to have them, or let me know if you need to order a copy. I can try to ask some of it if they still have copies.
Okay, cool. Wow, that's a very interesting look into your process. Okay.
Ang likot ko, no?
Galing nga eh. Kasi nga it's very fluid, and this very intuitive way of shooting honestly is I wouldn't say naman is alien to me, but I have always been fascinated about it, and it's something I know that I can do like off the bat. So having this sort of peek into your process is very, very inspiring, Shaira, I have to say. And
I think it's the same thing for me when I look at people like Paco or Jason, for example. Like they are very. It's like they know exactly what they're gonna do.
mhm.
Like they know the exact image and they know the lighting and they have all the technical things down pat. That just amazes me.
Yeah.
I cannot. So it's a totally different world, and I'm just also in awe when I see stuff like that. I can't do anything like that.
Yeah, okay. Everyone shoots kasi differently, and
Yeah, for sure.
you have to dance to the beat of your own drum. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so right now we are again welcome to the guys who are watching with us, and for those who are just joining, this is Behind the Shot, where our top visual storyteller for the day, Shaira Luna, is talking about her work and the stories behind them. I think it's very fascinating, and it's very inspiring for me. So looking at your photos, Shaira, especially the iconic series, that's a good exercise talaga. So maybe I might
Really, really,
I
you should
might
try
start
it
doing it.
once. Yeah.
Diba? Yeah, so guys, I'm not sure if everyone's quiet on Facebook, but what happened was we were dropped by YouTube, and I just picked up the slack just right now. So if you guys want to transfer over to YouTube again, I never thought that they would flag a photo on copyright.
Who knew?
Wow, amazing. Okay, but you know what? Because of this, I will just keep the whole Facebook stream running, and maybe at the end of it, download it and upload the whole thing again to
Hmm.
to YouTube. So that's one way to do it, and just continue. That's how it goes. Right. All right. So let's go to our last set, Shira. And when you first gave me this reference, it said, was it Zombie Molly Gold? What was that again? Zombie Molly
Zombie Molly Firecracker.
Firecracker. I thought that was the name of the model. It's not. It's the name of the goldfish.
Yeah.
Yes, I got it right. That's true. Cool. Awesome. Okay, sige. When did you shoot this project? And I keep on asking this, but what was the inspiration behind it?
When did we shoot? This was I think a month ago
Okay.
already. So this. Why did I ask her? I think I posted a photo of Molly. So Molly, I shot in New Orleans
Mhm.
back in 2016. We did a couple of editorials. I spent a whole day with her, and she was just so fun. She's this gorgeous, gorgeous girl. She looks like a she looks like a doe, and then she has like freckles all over her face. Like her entire face is covered in these like the best freckles, and she has big eyes and like this little tiny face. I love her so much, and we just had a lot of fun going around New Orleans and shooting these things. And when I posted a photo of her, it occurred to me to maybe ask her if she wanted to shoot over Zoom, because my agent asked me to practice shooting Zoom because she said, "Shy, okay, so I don't want this to happen, but I think the future of shoots, for now at least, will be Zoom shoots." Or FaceTime, or what's the other one? Google Duo.
Skype. Okay. Google. Okay.
She said, Shay, you have to practice. And I was at first, this is weird. That's not really shooting, is it? Because, you can put a camera in front of yourself and take a selfie, right? So I really found the whole idea of Zoom shoots just not shooting.
Okay.
But I had to do it because I had to practice, and I'm very masunurin. So so prior to this, I did a test with our local models, and then I said, "Well, Molly's really cool. Maybe I can ask her, even if she's all the way in Louisiana." So I messaged her, and then waited for 11. Oh, or the time difference is 11 hours, right? So I was just trying to get in at the time that she was awake, and then she said, "Oh yeah, sure," and I was so happy because I thought that she would find it really creepy or
Yeah.
awkward.
She was
Um,
game.
she was super game, and then she said, "I have clothes. It's like I'm gonna show you my outfit options, and then I'm gonna show you where we can shoot. To do these Zoom shoots, you have to have like good Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
And then she brought me outside her house, and she said the Wi-Fi's good here. We can shoot here. So we set a date for the shoot. And then she said, "Oh, by the way, I have props, and then I have a book, I have a mirror, I also have a fish." And then she shows me a photo of her fish in a really colorful neon aquarium. And then, "Oh, how cute." And then she said, "By the way, the fish's name is Zombie Molly Firework." What? This is the most
Ang
random
character naman.
conversation.
Yeah.
This is just so random. And then I was like, that's the name of the shoot. This will be about you and your only friend during the lockdown. And that's how we came up with Zombie Molly Firecracker.
Wow. But how does it work? Okay, how does the Zoom shoot work? There's no camera involved, is there?
So basically, she brings around her phone with her, and then she props it in the most creative way possible. And then I tell her to move the camera, I tell her to move things. She's basically acting as my second eye and my 2nd tripod. And then at first I was doing screenshots just on the keyboard, but that takes long. So after a while I was using my camera. So the Zoom shoots that I do now, I use my camera. And then I take a photo of the screen. It's hard.
But it works kasi with your style din eh. So that's what's amazing about it, no?
Oh yeah, I think it worked in my favor because you're talking to them. "Hey Molly, move to the left," or like, "Hey Molly, I can't see the fish." And then while she's moving in natataranta, I'm shooting.
Right.
So
she
yeah.
doesn't click the camera. It's just it's basically a live feed, and then you just
It's a
take
live
photo.
feed.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's why at first I was really hesitant about these being shoots because, like, honestly, you could take a selfie, right? Like, you could tell them to take a selfie, but it's the talking, it's the directing that is still there. So see, it says title will be me and Zombie Molly Firework. So we were just laughing that whole Instagram conversation because we were so excited. And I shot here I think 9 p.m. and it was 8 a.m. there, something like that.
Yeah.
Super fun. And then she took me around her house. I feel like I know her entire house already because while she was changing, the camera was pointed at the hallway and I could see her like violins. It was fun.
You got to look into her life na while you're doing
Yeah,
it.
it was really fun. So I still do Zoom shoots now.
So do you think do you agree with your agent that this is the new normal, that you do shoots via Zoom?
Well, I'd say it's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
People still want to be on the safe side, but we've been back to the studio. I
Right.
feel like we're going to be able to shoot a little normally in the next couple of months. But now that I know that these shoots work and they're fun to do, and it's a great way to connect with people you haven't seen in years or people you've always wanted to shoot, but we can't buy a plane ticket and fly to New York or something.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be creative and figure out what else you can fix in that tiny screen. You can only see this tiny when they take you around there wherever they are. And it's trying to figure out how the light will hit their face and how the front-facing camera will adjust the lighting on their face. Because it's an automatic camera. It's not like you can adjust the settings on it, right? If you're wearing something dark like that, it's going to make you super bright.
Yeah.
So it's fun. You should try it too.
If I can only bring one underwater na.
Diba?
Pero ang galing kasi you are also locked to a focal length or whatever available camera they have. So, for example, this is her phone.
All the ones with the red, the ones that are really grainy, those are part of the Zoom shoots. And then these were the shoots we did in New Orleans back in 2016. But see, like you can tell, like she can act and she can play characters. So, and then these are the clothing options.
We always say in film that casting is half great directing, and I think that is true with the way you choose your subjects as well. That's why it works.
You're one of the very few people who pointed that out.
Really?
And that's one of the biggest things I'm particular about. It's a big thing for the way I shoot and like how my images turn out. I have a certain, I don't know, it's casting. It's really casting.
Yeah, it is. And of course your direction.
You have an eye.
Well, I was a director for 8 years, so
exactly.
it's partly that. But you
really,
take it on another level in the sense that you're disciplined towards it. The fact that you remove anachronistic poses or the way they look at the camera. That's just another level of focus and determination for the shoot. So that's amazing.
Thank
Yun ang
you. It took a
casting director.
while.
Ang
It
galing,
took
ang
a
galing.
while.
So, on average, do you think that on all your projects, or more of the personal ones, do you think it's the person who comes first? I mean, sure, you're going around with a notebook. Okay, this is a good location. But when you start a project, intuitively, does it start with the subject first? Is that right for me to assume?
Oh, sorry, you got cut.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, on average, amongst all your personal projects, or which one comes first? Is it the subject? Is it safe to assume that?
I think so. Yeah. And then if the subject, if it doesn't work or if it didn't work out the way I thought, I change the mood of the shoot
Right. Right. Okay.
or
Wow.
change the title.
Galing. Okay. I think that was wow. This is a very insightful.
Because a lot of my stories, I think, are based on the title or the title gives something to it.
Okay.
So if I envision this girl and she looks exactly like the person I want to recreate, but they just don't have or they have like a different soul or they have like a different touch, I'll just change the entire thing. Like I can let go easily naman.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
really, I don't hang on to things for very long.
Okay. Right. And yeah. So when I look at all the sets that we have now, you have the icon, that make believe set, the zombie set, and the Freya set. It shows a very wide, or should I say diverse, repertoire of styles. Do you always push that, or are you comfortable with the set that you have already?
I like switching it up. I actually feel flattered
Okay.
brands get me and I am totally not their style. Or if they think I can shoot for them, even though like they see my folio is soft and
Yeah.
dreamy. I
Are you there?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't really limit myself if it's, for example, like a more urban brand or if it's something more raw. Mas tuwa ako, di ba? Parang really? Like,
Oh naman.
really?
Okay.
Kaya ko rin, kayanin ko yan.
Ang galing, galing. Okay, this was a masterclass in intuitive and fluid visual storytelling, and it's amazing. So the recipe for a successful Shire shoot would be first the casting, and then of course the wardrobe and the era factors a lot into your art direction. So wow, this was an insightful episode.
I hope so.
It
I just
was.
feel
It
like I
was.
was just like going on and on and
No,
on.
no, no, no. It was pretty good. Yeah, I hope more people get to watch this because we have very different personalities and processes in the whole behind the shot season, and everyone has this quirk or nuance that they follow, and yours is a very particular one, and I think that's interesting for those who shoot
Thank
like you.
you.
So pretty cool. So guys,
Thanks.
yeah. So I hope you everyone enjoyed this episode with Shira. I do apologize for YouTube's iron fist that came crashing down on this episode, but I think I have a way to re-upload the whole episode again. Because it's streaming on Facebook, I can just download that and upload it for everyone else to enjoy. Because I think more people should see and understand how you work, Shira. So again, I'd like to invite everyone to visit Shira's Instagram, Shaira Luna, and a host of other Shaira Luna archives, Shaira Luna Film.
May
They can,
Tumblr pa.
may Tumblr pa ba yan? Okay.
Oh my gosh, may
Uy,
Tumblr pa.
Pinterest favorite ka. I noticed your stuff are on Pinterest.
You really? You've seen
Yeah.
my stuff on
Yeah.
Pinterest? Oh.
The Molly thing I saw it on
And
Pinterest.
then, the Freya photo, people have been posting that on 70s sites. They really think it's a photo from the 70s.
Wow. Take that as a compliment, I guess.
I know. So people will be tagging like, no, 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 no. This is 2018.
Right, right. Wow, galing. Okay, and again, if you like this episode, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and share us also if you're into thrifting and wardrobe. Very interesting, a different side of Shira, but it's clearly evident in the shoots that you have. So Shaira, thank you very much. Is there uh what we are in now, it's very very interesting circumstance, and I'm sure a lot of photographers are going through it, and some a bit harder than others. Is there something that you would like to share with them, probably how you've handled your fair share of challenges for this COVID-19, I guess the last few months, no, the lockdown?
I've kept my camera beside me. I rarely put it inside my bag. If there's the slightest thing that attracts my attention and I find pretty, I take a photo of it. So at least you know in one day you've shot something, and it's also a good memory to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And just try not to be too hard on yourself. I read this a lot, and I also always say it's not a productivity contest. You don't
Right.
have to force yourself to put out work.
Mm-hmm.
If this is your time to rest, then take it. Like, who knows if it's ever going to come again. But also, if you can, sharpen up some skills or learn some new ones, and if you have to suddenly change careers or do something else, then for now, why not?
Yeah, there's
Just
nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
don't be don't be hard on yourself, and keep your camera out though, no matter what career you get into. If you're a photographer by heart, you're always going to be a photographer.
Wow. Okay. Beautifully said by Shaira Luna. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Shaira,
Hey,
thank you very much for joining us on Behind the Shot. And I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot from your projects. And
thanks,
I'm really
Noel.
looking
You
forward.
had great questions and great insights, so it was really fun sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I hope we can have you again on the show and probably another different set of projects that you have.
Sure.
Because you do it by batches pala, no? So it would be interesting if I gave you another, like, this one is
Yeah.
portrait, right? What if I told you something else, another theme, no, very thematic. That would be an
Eh,
interesting set.
pagkaya.
Diba? That
Kakayanin.
would be cool. Okay, so Shaira, I will just close the show. Please stay in our Zoom uh, conversation, meeting place, meeting room, whatever. And I'll get back to you after I close it in a few minutes.
For two introverts, we didn't do too bad.
That's true. I was gonna say thank you for mentioning that.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Shaira. See ya. All right, so thank you guys for another delightful episode of Behind the Shot, and I have to say, the insights that we get from our guests, they're really interesting, and it really helps. No, if you watch these episodes, I hope you learn a lot from them. Talaga, I know I did. So I apologize for the difficulties that we encountered for this episode. It's beyond me how that was a copyright infringement if it was that whole without John set from Shira, but it is what it is, and I'll just try to upload it again and find a way to get the whole episode up on YouTube. So again, please do subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell in this YouTube platform. And for up next for this week, after Shira, we have on Wednesday R2 Nepomuceno. So he's gonna talk about shooting the three mayors, so Vico and Isko, and then he's also going to talk about shooting Matteo Guidicelli and all his Esquire covers. So that'd be cool. And then we have, as a season ender, season finale would be Jason Kibilan. And that is a good way to round up our season for portraits. So we have Shira, who's very fluid, and she has that very nostalgic and cinematic feel. And then you have R2, who's a bit more gritty, and then you have Jason, who is more of the seasoned veteran in terms of shooting portraits. So it's a very very interesting mix and gives you a lot of perspectives. And yeah, that is it. That is Behind the Shot, and that is our third to the last episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, both on Facebook and YouTube. So again, Noel Guevara. Visit me on Instagram. Thank you, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Cheers.